There we go. Okay. And we're crossing over into page 10. Super excited. We're definitely beyond the halfway mark. And there's Chris. Hang on. Hi, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad you could join us. All right. We're just about to cross over into page 10. So, without further ado, who wants it? I think we're here at Ahapa, right?
Yes, that's where we were.
Say again?
Yes, that is where we were.
Oh, thank you. That's where we were. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I can try if you want.
All right. Awesome. Let's go for it.
So it's aha pa
Gonna zoom in a bit. Yeah.
Horu Harakti Ashu
Ash, yeah.
Ash Gadu Aa Hiuf Hev Jejed and Ta the Inuit gods.
Pesajit or Pesjet.
Pesajit. Okay. Honetru Hendu NN Iri NN NF Shabai and Aat Venin Ta. I forgot what that was.
I think you're already on the next
sentence. That's a new sentence, I think.
Maybe let's go to the red first. But I like the speed. Awesome. So, okay. What do you make out of it?
So then Horus, the horizontal Horus, cries out a great cry.
Yeah.
And it says to the gods, hurry, we catch him and punish him greatly. Is it that?
Pretty much, yeah. Let us hurry. Let us give a great punishment, or let us do a great punishment. Yep. And that's it. Whom? Him, like you said.
Yeah.
For him. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I presume it's Seth they're speaking about.
Right. They're speaking of what happened last. Try to remember now. Oh, wait. Last thing that happened was that Horus cut off the head of his mother, right? Because he was basically displeased with her supporting Seth, or at least not supporting him exclusively. And so the gods have just learned about it, and so that's Re Charakti's dictum now. Give him a severe punishment. Let us
punish Horus or punish Seth?
On Horus, because he's the one who's just cut off his mother's head. So that was the last thing that happened. Where was that? So this is Isis. Erui Hor Paisheri, and took away Horus, her son. This here belongs still to Sherry. Jajas, so her head. So yeah, that's a direct reaction to that. Very good. So then, only question I have, maybe verb form wise. So this here's a first present. Re Charachti, technically Her Ash Segab. So he made a great cry. But what do you make out of these two guys here? Henen and Irian. I'll zoom in a bit.
Isn't just we?
It's a form, yeah, first plural, that's right. And tense-wise, any ideas?
Future?
Say again?
Future tense?
Yeah, I mean, what I was looking...
We will do something?
Yeah, we will. And what to use for that? You could use but if you're going to say it about us, you're basically using the some call it the subjunctive, some call it the perspective. It's basically a Sejam F form. And there's two. There's the past tense and there's the subjunctive. This one is the subjunctive. So let us hurry and let us make a great punishment. Blah blah blah. So it's the prospective Sejam F or subjunctive Sejam F.
Okay.
And in the plural, it's often spelled with a double N for reasons unknown, I think. I mean, it shouldn't be two N's there in pronunciation. Okie doke. Very good. Well done. Any other questions about this sentence? If not, I would say let's take a quick look at hieratic. I'm not sure we have to do sign by sign because there's so much repetition now. Maybe we just stop on anything that's standing out. So paricharachti ash segabu. Not any segab, but a big one. If herjed or jed en whom and ta. That's the ligature for ta here. Ta pesjet. I think the three god signs here are basically not read out loud. It's just basically indicate it's 9 gods and you're putting a plural there. So it's really just pesjet, not pesjet and shure or something. So to the Inead, Chenen, I guess. Big H. This one's weird, honestly. If you look at that plant, what it normally looks like, it should be something like sort of like this, like that, or maybe later it also gets like a little extra diacritic on top. I find it easy to remember. It almost looks like a Japanese sign, like zi or or ko. This one doesn't look like it at all. Not sure what's going on here. Basically, why it looks like that. Comes a little bit further down the text and looks normal there. So if he was just running out of space, I don't know. Then again, he has a huge emphatic H here, and then like a tiny chen. Okay, I guess we'll just accept that. All right. What else? This here we've seen many times before now. The leg basically gets like this little extra arc on top if it's the bent one, as opposed to the normal B. What else? Nen, iri, nef, sebait. You can see how he does the star here. Sebait. Honestly, I don't know what you guys think, but we have T and Y1. I just see a T. This is like a very vertical T here, which they sometimes do. Happened a few times in the text. I'm not sure what what that should look like. Something like, I don't know even how you write it like this with this ligature if you wanted the Y1? Or would you try to write?
Gardner made a note that it's a ligature.
Oh, he thinks it's a ligature.
He does.
Well, I'll stand by your. Who am I to disagree with Gardner? But I don't know. I still just see a T. Okay. Well, let's watch out for that going forward. And I think that's really all that I can say about this one. Here we have it. Oh, here's one. T ligatured over into a Y1 book row with more space. And that this is an R, I just think we have to take on faith. I mean, what else would it be? But it doesn't go all the way through like it normally does, the middle stroke. All I can say about these, unless there are questions. All right. If not, then I would say, oopsie, my apologies. Well done. First sentence down. Let's continue. Who wants the next one? So let us go and give Horus a great punishment for what he's done to his mom. What does the Ennead have to say to that? Hi, Rebecca. Great you could join. You're on mute though.
You're mute.
It's nice to see Chris too. I'm just hoping he's not driving, that he is being driven.
Oh, great. Oh, true. I hope so.
Yeah, I'm on my way to Tampa to Busch Gardens, so the car is kind of noisy, and yeah.
It's better than nothing though.
True. All right. Well, who wants the next one?
We can have
You
him
can try.
go.
Oh,
All right. It's yours.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
All right. So we need
Go ahead, Ralph.
Jet. So and then the Ennead.
mm-hmm. That's it, yeah.
Jet. Cassie Taidu. And so I think that's so they climbed up the mountain.
Right. Elevated themselves, rose up, went up. Yes. Mm-hmm. Climbed up.
And I guess it's Naju, so it's the mountains.
Right. Mm-hmm. Those mountains, to be precise.
So they went up to the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Bruha Heru Zaniset
Mm-hmm.
Isut Irheru Su Stir Huriwan. So, oh, that's another. Okay, that's another sentence, right?
Oh, that's fine. It's fine. I was just trying to put a comma there, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Huriwaneha and Lu.
That's tricky.
Yeah, not so sure about that. Okay, so then the Jet, they ran up the mountain
Mm-hmm.
to Ruha.
Has to look for or search for.
Oh, okay. So to look for Horus, the son of Isis.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then they're like, so this is a question, like where?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Mm-hmm.
Where was Horus?
Not really where, honestly, although I see where you're going there, because ist very often is used to introduce questions, often with the second tense, right?
Right.
Like, is it that something should be the case, or is it that something should not be done? I think it's the same thing that you have in Coptic as is, or is repe, or apparently, I looked it up this morning, I didn't know there is also an iste, epsilon iota ste, basically, which they all just basically mean like look. Now, id normally is S4. So I think.
So is it that Horus is sleeping under some kind of tree?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Honestly, though, I think what's going on here is this is more like a focalizer. It's basically just saying as for Horus, and then Horus
Su
Sejer Heri Wanecha.
Wanecha. So as for Horus, is it that he's sleeping under a tree?
Yeah, is it a question or is it just a statement? As for Horus, he's sleeping under a tree.
So they found him.
I think so. So I don't think this is really a question. I think it's more. But I could be wrong about that. I think it's more like so the Ennead went up the mountain to look for Horus. Well, as for Horus, maybe question mark there.
Meanwhile, Horus was sleeping and lying under I think in Necha is a sycamore.
That's what I thought too. It's actually Nuche in Coptic. This whole sentence is a smorgasbord of Hiero-Coptic words. Hang on, can I get out of this annotation thing?
Yeah, I found sycamore or incense tree.
Sycamore incense tree.
Is that what that second word is after sycamore? The shenu?
Yeah, I think so.
Shanusha.
Yeah, that one's tricky. I looked that one up and it basically said on Ramses, it says a tree in mythology. But then if you look in the TLA, you find the word is used in Papyrus Ebers in basically medical prescriptions. And along with other things like dates and whatnot, I mean, real stuff. So if it were really mythological, how would you put it into a prescription, basically, into a recipe? That doesn't make sense.
So the tree isn't mythological, but it's mythologically important because it has medicinal uses, maybe.
Maybe that's what it is.
There's some kind of symbolism going here, right? Because he's cut off his mother's head, run up the mountain with it, but isn't the sycamore tree like related to Isis anyway? So he's like sleeping under her while he's got her head after he kills her.
Yeah, it's Het Heru from the story of Satnahet.
From the story of what?
The story of Satnahet, son of the sycamore tree. The sycamore tree is like symbolic of Het Heru.
Ah,
there we go.
There you go.
So yeah, there's some kind of irony here going on where he's he's recovering under her protection after he's chopped her head off.
Yeah, and wait till she gets her head back, actually, a few lines down. I find that so, it's almost funny because you think she'd be angry or something, right? But hey, he's still her son, so, well, what can I say? We'll get there. Okay, but yeah, the whole thing is mythologically condensed. So it's true, it's precisely under a sycamore that he's resting now. Okay, good point.
So what's going on with Sue as a subject then? I guess that's what was confusing me.
Well, we sort of got there last time in Ramses Online. What kind of a pronoun is it? It could be more than one.
Right. I'm probably thinking in Middle Egyptian where it's a dependent pronoun, but is it
right?
Not necessarily that in New Egyptian.
Well, how do you form the first present in Middle Egypt, in Late Egyptian?
That's the subject.
How do you form it in Coptic? With T, right? So for example, T sotem, I hear, which would be tui in Late Egyptian, right? So something like this. Sorry, I'm not going to write it out. So tui, and then I think it goes on with tuk, if I'm not mistaken. But then when you come to the third person, it's not tuf, as you think, it's su instead.
Yeah, okay. So that's just the first person, the first present.
That's right.
Beginning.
That's right. And so that brings up an interesting question. You can do this in two ways. You can have su her doing something with infinitive, or you can have what later becomes the qualitative. You can have a pseudo-participle there. And honestly, I don't know which one it is. Is sejer here being used? Is that really a su her sejer? He is lying or resting or sleeping? Or is that a pseudo-participle qualitative? Unfortunately, often you can't tell them apart. I don't know what it is in this case. Could be a good question for Ramses if we want to cheat.
Ramses calls it a res. I don't know what that abbreviation.
Okay, resultative is how they call the pseudo-participle. So it would be a qualitative.
So it's qualitative. Qualitative makes a lot of sense from the context.
Right, because he's lying, right? It's like
they're running and he's already there.
Right,
relaxed.
Right, just sleeping as you do after you cut off your mother's head. Yeah, right. Okie doke. I mean, after all, he's still angry, so I guess he needs a break. Okie doke. Under one tree, and what tree, whatever that is, Shenusha something. I'm actually not even sure how to read this one. Sheniusha? I'm not sure. That's what it seems to say, right?
I think so.
All right. Anything else about this part? Oops. If not, let's see if we can zoom out again. Well, that's good. Move. Oh, there's something else. So it is the Sheni Usha in, M.
Impatsan Ut. It's not Ut. In the land of something.
Yes, in the land of what becomes Wache in Coptic. Coptic is Wache. Wache is oasis.
Okay. So in the land of the oasis, which is...
That's right. Kind of cool. Now I forgot how to say that in what it is in Egyptological transcription. It's W. I think it's W Aleph emphatic HT. Is that right? Does somebody have that?
Ramsey says WH Aleph.
Oh, okay. I put the Aleph.
Hot.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Why are they using a lump of flesh or a pustule for an oasis?
That's a good question.
Good question.
Good question. Is it a pronunciation thing? Like,
yeah, I'm sorry.
No. I mean, maybe it is.
That's probably it.
Let's have a look. How else is that ucha thing used? Let's see. Is that the phonetic value? Uchat. But why? Oh. Honestly, I'm not even sure what phonetic values this puppy has.
See that it is bountiful of fruits and.
Oh, Evan, you're mute. Unmute, I mean.
I am mute. Yes, my upstairs neighbor was vacuuming. It is wuha. It's the triliteral, that little round guy.
It is what? I'm sorry?
That is the phonetic value, wuha.
Uha, okay. And what other words is that being used? Honestly, I don't know. Uha. So like this? Well, a skin disease, wonderful. An eye disease, oasis, and that seems to be it.
So it's just the phonogram.
I guess. Although,
I mean, maybe the throwing stick is because there's lots of animals at an oasis, but
yeah, or because it's like a semi-foreign country. Could that be that throwing stick you have a lot with like foreigners? I think it's more that like it's outside of civilization.
Yeah, I just brought it up because sometimes, thinking of oasis out in the middle of the desert, you can come to an oasis where the water could be contaminated or, it could be bandits and thieves luring you in to kill you and stuff.
It's definitely
because of pustule.
True. It's definitely a place outside of normal civilization, right? Something else going on. You can also put a monastery there if you want to. Like if you really want to be away from everything later in Christian times.
I was going to say that's later.
A little bit. Cool. All right, well done. So we have this one. Quick look at the hieratic. So tar pesjet, this is not new. Chessie, so ch looks like R with a dot. Chessie. Nai, so Naito, so these mountains, not any mountains, but the ones that we talked about. Ocha, I think we've seen that before. That's not new either. Sa Iset, beautiful cobra as always. Ist with a little ligature for the W and the T. Could also be an M if it had an extra stroke here on top. Hor, as for Horus. Su, the Su is a bit hard to read, but it's there. Su Sajer. I don't think we had this bed before, so that's a more complex sign, but very easy to recognize, I think. Sajer Heri. I'm not sure if we had the Heri before in this text. Maybe we did. Looks a lot like the G, but the G has a... Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, we've had it before. It's like the G, but with a hook on top.
That's right. Wa Nuche or Nachet or whatever. He doesn't write a final T. Then you have the tree here in double form. So for whatever reason, it has like a little crown on top here. And over here, it doesn't. But it's essentially like this H-like thing with a vertical stroke through it. And sometimes with another thing on top. The name of the tree, we covered the Shen before. Yeah, nothing much to say here, I think. Let's go to the next line. You see anything?
Actually, before you go on, looking at the full document, I think both trees have the crown. We just cut it off when we did when we split the lines.
That makes more sense because yeah, you're right.
So,
I think
yeah,
it comes there.
there's a little bit more on top there.
So we cut the tree top. Okay, all right. Thank you. Great call out. What else? Pa ta. Ta has that little something, the dots underneath. I think he normally does that. Huge determinative stroke, small canal, or whatever that is. Then our newfound Ucha sign with a T and a determinative stroke. I'm not sure I've seen him do the stick before, or at least I haven't seen him do it curved like this. Almost looks like a chaka or something, but it isn't. It's a stick. And that's it. All right. Well done. Somebody wants to take the next one? Does somebody want to take the next one?
I can take half of it. I think it's a really long sentence.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Wenin suta her gem to F UF mech im F UF oh God, what is this word?
I want to say
Hui to F Herat F Herpa Jew. Here, let me go back and translate.
Okay, sounds good.
Then Seth found him, and he seized him there, and he hit him on his back. Threw him on his back, or hit him on his back.
I thought it was.
I'm not sure about Hui.
I thought
Is it hit or throw?
Definitely it can be hit.
And it can
Isn't
definitely be
that the
thrown.
same word they were using when Isis was throwing her
the harpoon,
spear?
right? That
Yeah.
actually makes a lot more sense now that you say it. Didn't think of that, but you're right. That makes way more sense. Where is the previous Hui? I think you're right. Somewhere here. Here we go. And again, wait. Why does it say he? Oh, because it's okay. And again she threw it or him, namely the harpoon, through the harpoon again into the water. Okay, so yeah, there's Hui. You're right. So it can be actively throw, not just to strike, which makes way more sense. I mean, strike on the back sounds like really weird, doesn't it? Threw him on his back. That makes so much more sense. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so threw him on his back. Okay, at F her pod Jew on the mountain.
That's right. Perfect. Don't know what else to say. A ton of historical first presence, basically, and he did this and he did that. Maybe the only weird thing is the imov here. Seized him. Why doesn't it say mechef? Why does it say mech imov? I mean, I'm reading it Coptic because it almost sounds Coptic already, right? Like the object marker. And then here you clearly have huituf or something. So that one takes the direct object as an object pronoun. The gimtuf does the same thing. He found him. So why this is imov? I have no idea. It's really interesting. And I don't have a good answer. If somebody has one, shout out. Is that a way how to already? No.
It can't mean there, can it? Can it mean there? You found him there.
It could mean there, but if it means there, then the F shouldn't come after it. If it were like Mechef im or something, he seized him there. That would make sense. But the F's in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And you would think if it were like another way how to use the direct object, you would just say UF mechsu, like the dependent pronoun that Ralph just mentioned. That would also work.
I just interpreted as if he found him where he was.
Although I would almost say that should be UFim, like being there, like circumstantial, and then with the adverb after it. Imorph, being there. I don't know. Does Ramses have any recommendation or any of our other sources? It's a really interesting one. By the way, here they translate it as, no, Jeta sur le dos. So they saw it the way that you saw it too.
Like literally, they say they hit him on his back, but
yeah, but then
but that they threw him down on the mountain on his back. Yeah,
right.
Jeter means throw.
Yes, right. Jeter is throw. Mech. That's an infinitive here, so it could take a suffix pronoun. Guys, I don't know. That's interesting. But I would say let's park this one. Just going to take a quick note of that. Cool. All right. Oops. Where are you? Here we go. So we have that. Do you want to go on, or?
I can do a little more. The next phrase. UF frui. Uja F. Senui. Set 2. And he removed. This is the Wajat I, right? Removed his Wajat I from its place. From his 2 Wajat I's from their place.
That's right. Correct. Well, perfect. So M being from, that weird thing that M can have that meaning as well, like ablative kind of meaning. And then set to their place. So set apparently can still take the traditional suffix pronoun instead of saying pauset or paus, whatever the plural is. Very good. Makes sense. Frui. So yeah, just historical present. He removed. Okay. And then?
Someone else can pick up if they want.
Okay. Who wants it? Bunch of fun Coptic words coming up.
Do you want to take some, Aurelio? You haven't translated in a while.
All right, I can do it. Sure. So, and he, UF, and he, or UF, Temisu, that is Thomas in Coptic, or Toms, to bury. And he buried them, Herpato, or Joe, upon the mountain, Eresechat Ta, to illuminate the country. Okay, all right. Bal. So that's the word for eyeball. That later becomes bal, the Coptic word for eye. Because you still have yat, but you only use that in certain compounds. The normal word, if you want to talk about your eyes, nekbal. So that's the bal basically, and it's spelled almost like a ball. This syllabic writing, and you can tell it's not a ball because it has the little
group writing, right?
It's group writing, yeah. Group writing or syllabic orthography or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's what it is. So in any case, eu or e pabal en yatif or yitif, actually irtef if you still want to pronounce the r. So did I miss a little snow here somewhere? Yes, there's a little little 2 in the middle. So the two, his 2 eyeballs, basically. Reper, sich. Now it gets really tricky. So I looked it up. Ramses says sechet, which normally is a word for a type of grain. The older version of the TLL says, oh, sorry, no, I'm wrong. Ramses says the older version of the TLA of the thesaurus, that this word here means bud, like of a flower. Then the modern version of the TLA deprecates that and says this is just a word for some type of grain. But then why does it have the double R in there? Really weird.
I can't remember where I looked it up, but I found bulb, like tulip bulbs.
Bulb, which makes way more sense when you see how it goes on. So I'll go with that. So let's say sechet. I'm going to leave the R's out because I know what to do with them. Sechets now, 2 of them, or maybe sinte, assuming that the word is feminine. Yusen Rud, Seshani. Yeah, let's leave it there. So root, what was the root? Root is grow, right? So they grew into lotuses, to be precise. So basically, going back to the sentence, to illuminate the country, the 2 eyeballs of his became bulbs, I guess, namely two bulbs, which grew into lotuses. Well, very poetic. That's what's going on with Horus's eyes here.
So this sounds like a kind of etiological legend explaining, why you get the lotuses at the oasis.
Possibly, yeah, that's true. There is a text, for example, called from Ptolemaic times, called the 10 Battles of Horus. And basically, in the beginning, every sentence is this and this happened in history, and that's why we call this place now so and so. You also find that in the Bible a lot. Those in the Old Testament, those explanations, right? This happened, and that's why the name is until today, blah blah blah, and often folk etymology. So it could be either like a story, like you said. That's why we have lotuses, or that's why the place is called the place of lotus, or who knows what. Very good point. Sesheni, or Susanna in English, right? I don't see the immediate connection between eyes and lotuses, but there must be something there. There must be a story there. I looked up what a lotus bud looks like. Doesn't really look like eyes too much, honestly. I mean, they're beautiful, but I don't know. Well, that's how we have grammar-wise. So just you with a nominal subject, Schope infinitive or Reper M into something, namely into bulbs, and they grew another, presumably U plus infinitive, into something again, namely into lotus flowers, and that's it.
I have a question about something in the line above that, and the 2 eyeballs. Why is it pa instead of na? Is it only na if it's a plural more than 2, if it's 3 or more?
No, that's really interesting. Wait, is that true with all numbers? I would have sworn it's true with all numbers. Now I have to go back to the numbers lesson if that changes. I don't think it changes. It's always singular. The 200
2 is a singular?
It's singular. Yeah, what changes with higher numbers is what gender it takes. Like I think over 300, it's automatically masculine or something like that. There are some rules on the gender. I'd have to look up my own summary of that. But basically, it's always like something's going on. The 2 seals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the way you want to read that is the number is singular, and then so it becomes like the 2 of seals. And then the funny thing is, if you have to have like a resumptive pronoun or something, it would be they did something. So the whole thing is understood as a plural, but the the article is always singular. And what gender it is in depends on the noun and the number itself. Like higher numbers have certain genders assigned to them. And they switch to Coptic just to make it even more confusing. Great question. So yeah, the balls of his the two balls of his eyes. Yeah. That's really all I think I can say about that. And this double R bugs me. I don't know what to make out of that. It's very clearly there. But I don't know where else that word is attested. So no real comment. I don't know. And apparently two of them. There's like a very prominent two here as well. So they became two bulbs or two buds, whatever is right for lotuses. Should we look at the hieratic real quick? We're making enormous progress. Love it. So beautiful Seth animal or Sutech animal. Her long drawn out gem for to find. Gem tuf. Gem tuf. Well, before we get to the gem tuf, so the M's being ligatured with the Y1 and the plural strokes, then comes the tuf. And that T looks a lot like the T that we claimed had a Y1 in it, right? So I don't know about that ligature, but whatever. Gem tuf, iuf, mech, mech imaf, iuf or F, hui, that weird digamma sign in the middle of it. Again, another tuf. Her what? Her, okay. Now I'm confused. That's a her for sure. Then this should be an aleph bird. Oh yes, it is an aleph bird and followed by a T with a double strokes. Okay, that makes sense. So that's at, lives on as or in Coptic only in the combination he or, the status pronominalis of he, I think, upon the back of something. That little flash thing here, followed by the F, her, pa, ju, or do, probably not a ch anymore at this point in time. This the little stone at the end, if rui, sorry, what am I doing? He removed. He's trying to make that into a future.
That R is pretty dodgy.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
Like, I mean, the rest is very clear, but that's an R? Okay. I have to know.
It looks like a D. That something's missing.
Yeah.
You really have to know. It's true. Okay. What else? Uja. Yeah, beautiful. What else can I say?
The jaws, doesn't it normally have a few more strokes to it, or am I thinking of the boat?
Good question. I was wondering about the same thing, honestly.
I mean, the Uja sign is huge, so you know exactly what word it is. But
oh, you mean the Uja, the eye?
Yeah, but the jaw, that one, yeah, that one right there is.
Let's take a look. First off, what is it? Oops. It is. I found a new way how to look at glyph numbers. Just type the glyph and then look it up in the Unicode table. U28. So there you go. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
So that is a thing. Actually, it's a thing all the way. Oh, later. Look at that. 19th dynasty. Yes, it can get an extra.
It often has an extra stroke, but not always. Okay.
But not always. That's right. Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Where are we? So the Ujjayi, or two of them, I guess. No, yeah, there are two. Here we go. Set two. Sorry, they have their place. UFT. That must be group writing again. Thomas to bury. This is weird. What's going on here? So here's the mess sign, the way it should always look like. That's how you also spell out what it means to give birth or something. Then here's an S. Here's the X. Here's the hand with a stick. And then I mean, it doesn't belong to the next line, I think. It's not like a carryover. What could it be? It could be a W. So it could be that he wrote the W twice. Tomisu, maybe. I have the feeling though something's missing. Does Gardner have that? Or say anything about it?
Is it so see under the S, is that just a continuous line, but it's flaked off? And that's just the W?
It could be, but here's another W.
No, it's our error.
But there is another W. There's a W before it and a W after it.
Yeah. So our transcription is just missing the second W.
So there's two W's. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is a W, like you thought. Which makes sense. Yeah, I guess.
I guess, huh? I mean, one would have been enough, honestly. Unless, I mean, this thing looks kind of group writing like if it has a dark vowel in Coptic. If you wanted to indicate that there's like a not a front vowel, but a dark vowel in it. I'm taking Kilani's approach there, where he says that there could be vowel markers, maybe. Still, I mean, that's the best I can come up with.
I mean, it's a beautiful little composition there with the
Looks
cross
nice.
ligatured with. I really like the way it's drawn there. Like the S connects with the W, and then it's all wrapped around the cross. It's ligatured with the arm. So it's really pretty. But
it is pretty. I mean, he does that a lot, right? Like fold signs over into little circles, like over here.
Yeah.
M and then go into the Y1 and go straight into a plural strokes. He likes to make those little circular shapes. Here again, same thing. That seems to be his default mode. But it's pretty, you're right. Kharpatu, Erzechat. Again, the hat here, you just have to know. What else should it be with the ch at the end of the sun? Ta with the little dots under the ta. Iu pa bal sinte or something, or snow, bal snow, and
I have a question about that. Isn't snow supposed to be in front of the word, not after?
That's the exception of the second person. Second person, how do I say? Blah. Number two is what I'm trying to say. The number two always comes after the noun. Other numbers, well, they can come before the noun. That's how they probably were pronounced. Or in list format, you can always put them after, like fish 50, bread 200, geese 25. It's almost like writing a shopping list. You see that an awful lot. But the number two is always behind.
Okay. I just remember it the wrong way.
Right. Yeah, that's a rule. Also before, like all the way from the beginning, I think, the language. I was about to say, what do you do in Arabic? In Arabic, you still use the dual, so that doesn't apply. Okay, in Yetif, Kheper, technically Kheperu, there's a W written here. Sesh, that is questionable. I mean, what it should be is it should be like a stroke and then like two little thingies here, and he's just, this one goes a little bit far, but okay. What else? Double R question mark. Big Pebble, another number two. Usen Red. This here is fantastic. That is this. I think that deserves a look up.
I think we've had that before. It has not been so fancy.
Is it? I don't remember, but I'm sure you're right. I'm going to put it up anyways because I just don't recall. T12. So this sort of makes sense to me, because when you just have like the the single loop, you break that down as stroke, stroke, stroke. Sorry, I don't have the pen activated, but basically down and then loop and then finish it off. So this just has like an extra loop on the side, which makes sense. Then as you go on, that loop becomes longer. Okay, still recognizable here. Then it gets a cross stroke, because why not? So that's still our loop, 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 long and cross stroke. Okay, I think now I'm getting the hang of this. Let's take a look. So what I just said is what it should be. It should be something like this, this, this. That's the original loop. Basically, oopsie, what am I doing here? Sorry. But yeah, you break it down to 3, and it should get this, and it should get that. Is that what we have?
Where that
leaves a
long
lot
diagonal.
from the yeah.
Right. He does more to it. You're right. So this is like this thing here is the core construction. That's the original loopy thing. And then oh wait, does that belong to something else maybe? Let's see what's on top.
Nope. It's just an F on top.
It couldn't be.
It couldn't be? Okay.
It's like he started to draw the child instead.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Oh. Is it not the F? Like it's not the extension of the F here?
No, they're not connected.
Not really, huh?
Yeah, like that tiny little black thing you see right on the edge is
that's this here, right?
Is the top, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they touch, but they don't look like they're associated.
Tell you what, I think Aaron is right. I think it's probably really they were starting out to write the child for whatever reason and converted it into maybe.
So does that mean you write the arm of the child first?
I think so. That would actually make a lot of sense because.
Or I mean, this does have that long falling stroke. Maybe he just went really extravagant with it and gave it a big lead in. Yeah. Instead of just starting it at the top corner and going down, he just gave it a lot of extra oomph.
Could be too, you're right. Fascinating, huh? So then you would think he really did this first, and then he did this, and then this. Which makes sense, because this looks a little bit weaker than what's in the center.
Yeah.
So,
the line looks to be going over the middle box.
You mean he going over? In which sense?
Yeah, it looks like the long line is the last thing you do.
Yes. Or maybe it might be before the tick, but
I'm still not getting it. Say it again. I missed it.
Yeah, right over your arrow now. That part, the middle part there. The lines.
Yes, if you zoom in. Yeah, see how if he had done, it almost looks like the ink from the final big long stroke washed over that original middle stroke.
This here or this here?
Yeah, that second one right there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You think that
if he'd done that second, this whole section would be dark. But it's not. There's like a stroke through it.
Okay. If I go further away, I see that. I see what you're saying. You're saying this looks like it came after then? So you're saying this is...
Yes. And if it was all still wet, then what that did was that lighter stroke just sort of pulled through the earlier stroke.
Could be. I see what you're saying. Yeah. It does look a bit like that was drawn through something pre-existing, right? And then this came at the end for sure, because you don't see that effect here. Good point. Good point. Huh. So then you would go like tuck, 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 and then finish it off and continue. Okay.
In which case it's impossible that he thought he was writing child because he had already written the rest of the sign.
So he's just
can we look at the list again? The progression of the signs.
This one here? Sure. If I can get there. Come on, move. You guys can't see that, but I have that zoom thing flying around. Here we go. This list?
Yeah. Well, it's sort of there in the 20th dynasty.
I don't see any of them having that flourish, though.
If you go down to the 20th dynasty.
To the what? I'm sorry? The front?
The 20th dynasty.
Oh, 20th dynasty. Okay, got you.
You sort of see it on top on the first one.
This one here.
Yeah.
There's something there, you're right. Here's a bit of a loop. Huh. Okay, good point. It's true, it has a loop. This one too.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so he was not mistaken. We were. Okay, all right. Let's bring that line to an end. Say Shanna or whatever, lotus, and a beautiful lotus flower. I'm not sure exactly how you do it. First time I see it, but this surely belongs together. And then I'm assuming you finish it off with that, but if this came first and then you do this myrtle thing in the middle and then this, maybe. Here you can see the plant I was talking about before that looks way more normal, like the way it normally does. And then provost strokes, and that's it. All right, nice. We are in line 5. We're in line 5. But we're down to 2 minutes, unfortunately. I don't think we're going to manage another one.
Good place to stop.
I think it's a good place to stop. Right, because next Seth is going to come back from what he just did and report out on it, or not, maybe. We'll find out in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, guys.
Goodbye.
Thanks so much.
Have a good one. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.